Hi everyone, Adrian Groenewald here and Louis Groenewald from Me Vision Academy. It's such a privilege to be with you and to be with our special guest today, Dr. Shirley Zinn. But very, very special is to have some of her colleagues and friends and those who have kind of participated in her journey in some way, shape, or form, no doubt, to have them with us today and to enjoy the moment. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. This is going to be a special award of successful leadership, very exclusive. We don't do it lightly. And it will be to Dr. Shirley Zinn today. After doing so, we will interview her for the next 45 minutes. And of course, those who are here, you're welcome to stay, but you're welcome to go as well. I think she will no doubt appreciate the fact that you at least here for the handover. For almost a quarter century, we have interviewed and worked with leaders on all levels, up to presidential level. And it's been such a privilege for the last 25 years. We've written a few books, hundreds of articles, had a few shows on different platforms, and all that's done is given us an opportunity to meet a lot of leaders. It's also culminated into what we call today Me Vision Academy. And Me Vision Academy is going to do exactly what we do here today. We track leaders that we meet, then we recognize and celebrate those that we believe are truly successful. And then we learn from them by doing an intimate interview like this and then share it with the world, hopefully inspiring more successful leaders in the future. The world needs this in great haste. We all know it, we feel it, we sense it. We also help less prominent leaders because it's easy to track a Shirley or to track a Peter Steenkamp of Harmony. It's easy to track those sort of leaders, but it's not easy to track leaders that are not that prominent. So we place them on a platform we built called Leader Track, and we can track them as well. And then eventually they can also receive successful leadership certificates. This is more of an award, a very exclusive special award. So we've been tracking Dr. Shirley Zinn for years and feel she deserves this prestigious exclusive award. Shirley, absolutely welcome to you. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Arjun, and welcome to everyone. I see family, friends, colleagues. Sorry for the last minute request, but Adrian and Louis, I'm so honored and humbled to be here and to be invited to this award. It is very moving for me, and I appreciate the amazing work that you are doing to ensure that we are building leadership that is able to build a better world for us all, especially in current volatile times.
Thank you, Shirley. Of course, those who are here know that you're a chair, non-executive director on some major boards, former HR executive Nedbank and other major brands as well. Huge, vast experience in leadership. Now seeing it from a board level as well, very interesting. It must be interesting, the kind of advice you'll give us today. So well done on those accolades. But more importantly, if you did all that, but you weren't a successful leader, it wouldn't matter too much. So we really feel you are special. I'm going to now pin the three of us who will be participating. The rest of you will look forward to having you with us. I'm going to show you we'll do the actual handover, and then we'll continue with the conversation around leadership. So let me share. Here. Here is the actual, just get the screen ready here. Here we go. An exclusive recognition, very special recognition of successful leadership. We don't put those two words in the same sentence lightly. Awarded to Dr. Shirley Zinn for what? Amongst other things, for consistently leading self successfully. She could not have achieved what she has without doing that. Consistently leading people successfully, directly, indirectly. Successfully leading as an executive inside various large organizations. And that's all part of her track record. Successfully leading society in various impactful roles. She's involved on many fronts. And then her commitment to mentoring, inspiring future successful leaders. That is paramount for Me Vision Academy and for us, and we know for Shirley. signed by one of the co-founders, and that's Me Vision Academy. So if someone can just answer their phone. Me Vision Academy, our slogan, a journey to best self-confidence. So Shirley, absolutely congratulations. Let me stop sharing there.
Thank you so much, Adrian. I know that you put a lot of thought and effort into this, and I'm just truly honored and blown over, actually. So I just need to get over the emotional side of this. So just a huge, huge thank you for thinking me worthy.
And even more important for us is just to pick your brain a bit, Shirley, to talk about those very levels that you received the award for. So let's start fairly systematically, but we will jump around with the first part of leading self successfully and consistently. We've got a slogan, as you saw there on that award, journey to best self-confidence. It can be just journey to best self, but the confidence is there for a specific reason. Just tell us, how have you gone about working towards your best self? And we're not assuming you're there fully. Of course not. It's a lifelong journey. We're also not assuming when we give this award that anyone is perfect. But how have you gone about that journey towards your best?
Thank you so much, Adrian, again to Me Vision for this wonderful recognition. I think if I look at my own journey to best self-confidence, it is indeed a work in progress. I think for everyone, we all, on a journey of self-actualization, of trying to, be our authentic self, of unlocking the magic and the talent that resides within ourselves, and discovering who we are when we are at our very best. And we do this by ourselves either. We do this because of other people, like the people on this call today who have played, including yourself, who have played key roles at very specific points of life's journey. And I think about my dad. He would have battled to get into the Zoom thing right now. So I'm sure that we'll tell him about this later. But in the early days, sitting my sister and myself down and talking about the importance of not having, he didn't use fancy words like vision, but he said, we have to try and achieve something better than where we currently at. It feels like you need to make something of nothing. And yes, it does sound like an impossible ask, but that was the ask, and finally crystallized into your education is going to be your liberation. It is going to be something that you must focus on. So just please get your matric. I mean, that was one of the very first big things that I was confronted with. And we know, Erin, what the state of education is, and how many learners get on and how many do not get off. And so just to have an aspiration, a simple little building block like that as a starting point, I think was important. And that began to do something inside of me. It told me that I've got to continue to learn, that I've got to be disciplined, that I've got to, work hard, that I have to do it as best as I possibly can. And yes, we're not perfect. So all of us there will be a few steps back and a few steps forward. And then, of course, it was my mother on the flip side who used to talk about values of respect for human beings, of humility to apologize if you make mistakes, humility to be able to get up if you fall down. And she used to talk about hard work and excellence. It's not good enough just to do hard work. You have to do it to the very, very best of your ability. Not perfect, because none of us are, but do your best personally and professionally. And she used to talk about, and I suppose this is what the world also needs today, Adrian. It's kindness to other people. It's generosity of spirit, and it's service to humanity. And so between, the teachings at a very early age that my parents Okay, me, and it's very fortunate to have the kind of parents I had who didn't finish their own high school, but who understood these two fundamental elements. And this is what has become an important part of my journey to best self confidence. And it's a continuous work for me because every day I have to go back to those anchors and I
Mm.
have to say, have I done what these very, very early lessons have requested of me, in a sense, to live up to? So I do this with I do my personal and professional, work with my whole heart, my whole soul, and my head, and I try to make sure that I passionately wake up every morning to make a difference and to have a higher purpose in life.
Shirley, I'll see what the old man thinks of what you're saying there. But what's fascinating to me is, so there's the hard side, if I can call it the hard side, is qualify yourself, get your matric, but then go beyond, which you obviously have done, good qualifications, continue studying, acquiring knowledge. But then the finer side of life, the values, becoming more patient and kind and gentle and generous and giving and those kind of things. And it sounds to me like those two streams played a role in formulating you towards your best self. And what happens when you move closer to your best self? I mean, we truly believe that a healthy confidence develops. So the more I move towards my best self, not just by way of qualification and performance and going out there, and just getting things done, but also refining myself, I build a quiet, powerful confidence that others sense, and those who are here today and others will sense it in you and in anyone who tries to become their best self on various levels. Old man, you want to comment anything before we continue?
Uh, Thank you, Shirley. That was inspirational. I think this quiet confidence you speak about, or it reflects in Shirley. It's also indication of emotional maturity, and I don't think you can have that quiet confidence if you haven't gone through facing all those rock walls in life. So it's just a beautiful testimony of somebody that's heart is set on a best self direction. It's also lovely, I must admit, Shirley, the way you give credit to your parents. I love that. It's quite fashionable nowadays to blame your parents for everything. And I think it's part of emotional maturity to see them the way you have done, especially those so called soft skills, which are so vital in this world of ours.
Mm. Yeah, congratulations on that. Any comments further, Shirley?
Well, thank you very, very much, Adrian and Louis, for those reflections. I think, what it feels like to get closer to your best self is that you realize that it's such a huge work in progress, and you have to be consciously working on this because transformation starts with ourself first, and change starts with each one of us, within ourselves. So consciousness of self and congruence with self, alignment with your intellectual, emotional, social, spiritual anchors, and the congruence that creates for you to have the privilege and honor of trying to have a positive impact on other people that you meet along the journey as well. And as Louis is correctly pointing out, emotional maturity is such a big element, as is social capital, if you like, the quality of our relationships with other people that define the quality of our lives, actually. And to be surrounded by just amazing people who have so much to give this world, and especially our young people who are hugely unemployed in this country today, have so much talent. And for me, it's how do we go and unleash that, and how do I use my own potential that my own teachers. When I was in matric, I had two teachers that sat me down, Mr. Najjar and Mr. Isaacs, and they said to me, you know what, and we understand that you want to just achieve matric, but you have the potential to do much, much more than you think you can. And when I think back on that, that day, I couldn't have imagined what they were, that I would have had this journey, and that was so pivotal in my life. Because that night I went home to talk about university to my parents, and this is not part of the worldview. It is not part of the financial arrangements. It was going to be an impossible journey to achieve. And it was tough. I mean, there's a huge story within that story. But I do believe that facing the rocks and the walls and the curveballs and the traumas and the tragedy, Louis, as you point out, has also shaped me into thinking differently about my own leadership practices and what that translates to in my engagement with people, whether it be a collective group of people or individual relationships I have. What does that actually mean, and how does it play out for me? So yes, we I mean, I have, all of us, I think, has a story, but we have faced, we've had incredible opportunities to study, to grow, to learn, and to achieve, and we must continue to to use those opportunities and optimize that for the better good of others. And the second thing is that trauma and tragedy will come our way in this life. So while we celebrate all the wonderful things, we have to reflect on, how do we truly create a better world? And for me, that is such a core part of the essence of leadership for me, because, we were involved in a terrible accident in 2003. We lost our only child that we conceived right during the middle of my doctorate at Harvard, and he was 7 years old at the time. And I didn't ever think I was going to have the confidence to use your word earlier that you put into the recognition, Adrian. I didn't think I would ever have the confidence to pick myself up from that. And again, I realized that we need to surround ourselves with people who can uplift, who can inspire us, who can nudge us when they feel that we, we need to be nudged. And so that whole people centricity, the whole quality of relationships, the whole, soft skills that Louis talks about, collaboration and cohesion and courage to get help if you need help, because that's also what I needed to do at some point. And we've all been through this terrible scourge of COVID, and many of us have had losses, have still suffer with health issues, have, financial challenges. Our children need mentorship, and there's so much that we need to do to push humanity on a more optimal trajectory through leadership that is resilient and courageous and can stand up and take its position in this volatile world that we are in. So I've got I'm talking too much, Adrian, but this is such an important component for me, and I'm I'm really excited about what one is actually able to achieve with the right kind of support and the right kind of mindfulness, and people who can sustain you through challenging and difficult times. And I remain optimistic even in the current face of all the challenges around the world that we face.
Mm. And it's your worldview that does that. It's your value system. It's your anchor. It's your desire to change the world for better. I was going to ask you, how did you get through challenges in your life? What carried you through? And you've answered so much of that. People can go and listen. It's very powerful. Thank you so much, Shirley. I want us to go to leading people. So the other part of the award that you received today is not just leading yourself successfully, consistently, but successfully leading people, inspiring people. But let me ask it very specifically. How do you lead people to their best self? I guess part of it is lead yourself to your best self, and that's half the battle won. But how do you lead other people around you? How have you done it in the past as an HR executive and other roles to their best self?
I think, Adrian, it's such a great question, because I've held, as you know, several HR roles, and organizations have been in different business, cycles, and been on various journeys to improve and enhance and optimize around profits, around people, around processes, and our technology, and hybrids. And it's been the last 20 or 30 years working in this space has been an incredible, it's a complex set of dynamics that converge, all at the same time. And for me to, I remember especially going to SARS and then going to Nedbank and a few other places where there were huge pieces of work to be done. And I think where there was a connection between the CEOs of these organizations and the people, which said we cannot have organizations that are performing optimally if we haven't taken the people along with us. And so human to human leadership is very, very important. People centricity, putting families closer to people, making the workplace, we talk loosely about engagement often, and we talk about vision-led and values-driven organizations. But I think it's really the character and the culture of the organization, which is at the very essence of how successful, how nimble, and how agile we can be in terms of, recovering from all the setbacks and the odds that currently face us in this macroeconomic environment. So I really do think it's a lot of CEOs have talked about, people are our greatest assets, and I don't believe people are assets. People are human beings, and that's the first step in understanding and building trust and leadership that is authentic and inspirational and transformational. I think that is really what we need, and this is what I've tried to do individually and collectively. When I was speaking and engaging with huge portions of staff, when I was preparing documents for the CEO to engage with key stakeholders, including our staff, when we change policies and practices in organizations to enhance the offering, for staff beyond what the statutory and mandatory requirements are, and when we get staff to align their personal values and their personal sense of purpose to a common shared purpose for the whole organization, is when we can generate the discretionary energy that people have, and the wanting to make a difference energy that people have, and enhance where we currently are at. So it's all of those pieces putting together. So you have to take every individual one-on-one opportunity, you have to take big group opportunities, but you have to be working on the hearts and the minds of people to shift it. If you're just going to talk and not going to translate it into action, it means nothing. So I think one of the things I think that we fall short on a lot today is that commitment to values, principle, and behavioral changes in organizations, and how we ensure that each one of us understands the roles we have to play.
Inside you've got the massive organization, 20, 30, 40,000 people, 1,000 people, and every one of them, like a piece of a physical body, a toe, a nail, an arm, a muscle, a heart, whatever. And you need all of those parts of that body, of organizational body. Old man?
Arjun, what Shirley was explaining so beautifully is just confirmation that the kind of confidence that is developed within an individual and within the organization when they focus on the big vision, in other words, the person themselves, to self-understanding, is completely different to other kind of confidences that are projected out there, which is backed by arrogance, self-serving purposes, position and power, or the big P's that you speak about. Surely, that kind of confidence really is coupled with a deep-rooted humility or teachability, but that's the only kind of confidence that can really stand up to what's happening out there, this volatile world. So we speak of complex, it becomes far more simple if the vision is to work from the individual into the organization. That is a thrilling explanation that you gave us. Thank you, Shirley.
Shirley, you may have picked up somewhere that I speak about the P's in leadership. There's power, there's profits, there's popularity, there's position, there's possessions or prosperity, there's performance, prestige. There's so many P's in leadership, and so many leaders chase those P's. And some organizations prioritize them differently, but there's also a P called people and purpose. So you can keep going with these P's. Do you think we're prioritizing people in organizations in general? And I don't want to ask you about the boards you sit on, but even beyond those, are we putting people at the top? Are organizations managing to do that, or do they put them second and third? They put profits first. Should we do more in that side, on that side of things, do you think, as far as inspiring people?
I do think, Adrian, that the organizations who have truly understood that putting people first, people, whether they be your staff or your customers, your supply chain, your regulators, your communities around you, families of staff, your broadest possible stakeholders and shareholders. If you're able to do that, the rest will come. You will be profitable. You will have a sense of purpose. You will, you know, um, have prosperity and prestige, and you will perform and you will get your profits. So I think that if there was a formula with these P's, if you put people first and you say equal to all of those other P pluses, you will achieve all of those goals. I think that we have to be genuinely committed to making this happen. And we must move beyond the rhetoric of, we put people first in organizations. There's many organizations over many years that have said that. But what is the experience of people, of your clients, of your staff, of you, or whoever who engages with you, when they engage with you, when they walk into your branch, when they walk into your store, when they talk to you about your products? What is the experience that you're giving people? What do they walk away with something memorable, with something wow? So I think that we have to be far more deliberate about putting people first, and and I'm talking about all people in the broadest forms of the diversity and inclusion, and belonging that we all aspiring to, ensuring that we can build this not only in South Africa but in the world more broadly. These kinds of inclusions, the ability to understand that I belong to something that is doing something really great, something that is sustainable, something that is going to be here over the long term, and I'm not just in it for short-term gains and a little bit of money in my back pocket for myself. It's really about what legacy are we leaving for our children, and how are we ensuring that we're going to overcome all the adversity that can still potentially come their way. When people look back at the poor governance and corruption that is permeating our society and eating away at our souls in many ways, what role are we playing to ensure that our own ego and our own self, you know, um, 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 interest does not prevail? There's no room for it when we are including and creating a better world where equality prevails and inclusion prevails. That we can experience the real joy of having a sense of purpose for our nation, where everybody can make a contribution equally to it. So, because none of us achieves anything on our own, we're all part of a bigger ecosystem. And I think that the point, Louis, that you make about, positions of power and arrogance and ego, I think that, those are the things that get in the way of us putting people first. And we must look at the quality of every single relationship that we have with everybody to ensure that we're enhancing, improving it, and it's based on values of respect and humility and service, so that we can truly put people first. And we need to be authentic about it, and we need to find. People always say, what gets measured gets done. but there's suppose there's some room for that, and we become very obsessed with performance management and scorecards, which is very short term. But we need to really learn to reflect on what does it mean to truly build a better world over the long term. How do we grow our economy so everybody can be part of it? How do we be authentic as leaders in truly caring about people? And I know sitting on boards or executive committees and using words like care or even love, if you dare to do that, or related concepts that are often seem to be soft and fuzzy, I think are the things that are the challenges for us today. It's to your earlier point, Louis, where you talked about the so-called soft skills, which are now the hard skills. If we don't apply these skills, we will not have the discipline, the dedication, the determination, and the diligence. So I've got 4 Ds, Adrian, that you just heard there, to improve on what we currently have, and that must be the legacy that we all must seek to serve. How can each one of us um, make a difference in the lives of other people so that we can build a better world, and it can be sustainable into the long-term future? And for me, that is the essence of what leaders need to be doing. Leaders, and we can all lead from wherever we find ourselves.
Before we move on to the harder side, if I can call it that, because people leading self is crucial. Leading people is the essence. Then it's leading organization. Leading an organization and the systems and processes and budgets and so on are very important. Before we go there, give us the 4 Ds again that you came up with so quickly.
Discipline, diligence, dedication, determination.
Okay, let's get that recorded clearly here. You said it so fast just now. Those are powerful. Right. So when you've led yourself and you've managed to lead your people towards their best self as well, or best selves, that's more than half the battle won. But you do need to run an organization and run the stuff, manage, shall we say, the stuff. Just a few key principles you've learned and seen practiced successfully over the years in terms of leading an organization successfully.
Thank you, Adrian. So this is, I think, where you really have to harness your intellectual quotient, your emotional quotient, your social capital, and if you want, your spiritual capital and your cultural capital, your adaptive capital. Put them all together and ensure that you are building organizations that are courageous and brave during these difficult times, and also are making a difference to society. I think there's a lot of talk about environmental and social and governance, this whole ESG thing. There's a huge buzz in a lot of organizations around that, and we have to do that. But it is all about sustainability and continuous learning as an organization. We talk about learning organizations, but learning has to not just be only in the technical field. We have to go beyond the qualifications to understanding that things are changing at such a rapid pace. For us to stay on top of our games, we've got to have platforms like these where people can share ideas, share their stories, and support each other to be at the cutting edge. We have to read, we have to do research. We might not necessarily want to be going to classes anymore and doing formal learning. So mentorship, coaching, all of these elements need to come together for us to be optimal in what we are doing in enhancing organizations, in ensuring that profitability does happen. Because if we don't have that, then you can't exist in. And I think it was Milton Friedman that said the business of business is business. But that was when it was, I suppose, 60s and 70s. There was a whole difficult, world stage for business. Now the business of business is about people, really. And I think we need to make that shift in order to ensure that the financials are there, that the governance is there, that that we are organized and committed to delivering and executing and optimal performance. I think that is very, very important. And I had a question the other day on a different talk where someone was saying, well, if you're talking about empathetic and compassionate leaders, does it mean that when you're going to have some difficulty having a tough conversation about my performance with me, And I said, well, these things are not mutually exclusive. We all need to, be able to have tough conversations with respect to, and with compassion. But we need to understand what is happening with people. We need to know our people so that we can speak into a situation where we have a context and find out why people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or and shift things to make it possible and unlock and unblock things. So so I think that we need to do all of those things. It's a question of how we actually are doing it, and that we are making that extra effort to build trust, because I do believe we have an incredible trust deficit in leadership these days, and we need to find a way to lift our credibility as leaders, and and find a way to win and build and earn trust of our people again.
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely have a trust deficit, not just in politics, very much in politics, but also in business. The us and them, the people at the top who are so successful and wealthy, and us down here slogging it away, and doing all these things you're saying. I want to ask you, it's almost the second last question that we want to explore with you, and that is the multiplying of more successful leadership. What are you doing? I do believe you're doing a lot in terms of trying to mentor and inspire more successful leaders out there. But what more can and should we be doing? Us, me, old man, all of us in this space of trying to create more successful leaders. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we need to start from an early age. I think for me, the magic was that a lot of these teachings came through at an early age, whether I was at home or at school or in my community or wherever I found myself. There were people who were reinforcing these messages from an early age. So I think that that is something we must do better, and that goes to education. It goes to early childhood education. It goes to primary education, secondary education, and permeates all curriculum, even at tertiary educational level, and into education in the workplace. So I think we need to find better ways to pull this through the educational experiences that people are having, and to identify very early, what is possible, what is the magic that this person can bring to the world. And a lot of us have so many wonderful talents, and I've been enjoying more recently. Some of you will know the wonders of the musical talent that we have in this country. We have world class talent, and a lot of people are not given a platform at all, never mind to shine. It's just not unleashed. So I think that we need to create opportunities for people to let that talent shine through, and the anxiety and the fear of failure and vulnerability, to support people, to pick them up very quickly again when that fear and anxiety comes, because it will come. That's just part of being human, but that it doesn't overwhelm us and paralyze us into holding back on dreams and feeling we're inadequate or unworthy in some way. But it enhances our ability to get up and try again, and really showcase that beauty of whatever the talent is that we have within us, So I think there's definitely room for mentorship. I have seen, and mentorship it's taken on a whole lot of definitions. But for me, those two teachers in matric were mentors to me. It took 5 minutes, Adrian, and it can change a life. Just our words, what we say to people every day, can change lives, well, for the better and the worse. So you have to be careful of the words that you choose. But if you want to uplift and inspire someone and you want to get alongside someone, I think, in the 80s, during the educational struggles, we talked about each one, teach one. Each one of us can take a young person under our wing. It doesn't have to be grand, philosophical, big things. It's the little things that add up to something quite profound. And I think that if we can mentor and support and advise and give direction to our young people, we will shift the needle. And then I think also, you know, continuous growth, investing, understanding, and ensuring that we are self-driven in terms of our learning, because we often wait for, someone is going to put us on a course or whatever.
Yeah.
I think we must own that ourselves. We must say, I'm going to sign up for this, or I'm going to read this every day, or what am I reading to improve myself? Who am I talking to? Who am I spending my time with? How am I doing this? Because I also know that how we manage our time and what we dedicate our time to is also a very important and profound part of who we are and what we can become. And I want to just find something here that someone talked about that says, we need to um, unleash potential, learn more, do more, become more, despite all the odds. And there's so much more within each one of us to give. We have to find that more, and we need to put it out there so that collectively we can enhance and optimize and uplift ourselves, our families, our teams, our organizations, and our society. Because I think that is what we need, what each one of us needs to do where we find ourselves.
And Shirley, one of the reasons Me Vision Academy is named Me Vision Academy is we've come to realize the vision of me. If every person can catch the vision of their own potential, their true self, what their best self potential is, that changes everything around them. It then changes how they deal with people, how they lead organization. And that's why we call it Me Vision Academy, is to instill that vision in every leader out there, every person, that there's something amazing inside you. And we hear that a lot, but truly knowing that does change lives. Old man, before we ask Shirley to give a final message to leaders, just a final succinct message to leaders out there about what successful leadership really means. Old man, you want to say something, ask, mention, summarize?
Shirley, your words right now has triggered a really inspirational experience. I look back and I thought of those people that triggered my vast potential. I think of one teacher, I think of another teacher. You speak of those 5-minute sessions. I think of even a rugby coach. I think of individuals and the books I read that triggered in me a yearning to live up to my full potential. It somehow spoke to the spirit within me. So those words that you spoke, those so-called 5 minutes, means a great deal in life. We speak to the real true self of the other person. So you've really inspired me just by thinking back in my long background to those people who inspired me to believe in my potential.
Thank you, old man. And before we show that award one final time right at the end, Shirley, your final message to leaders.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Louis, for that profound insight. And Adrian, I think I was very, very honored to be able to go to Paris last week and to see that incredible game. And I know there are pros and cons and many debates raging, especially after the semi-final as well. But I do want to say that there's so much wonderful energy that can come out of our ability to be ambassadors, for our nation, to come together and show guts and grit in the face of huge pressure, and be able to compose ourselves, to be able to build a team spirit, and ensuring that every player is crucial to the team, and that we can focus regardless of the distraction of the 80,000 people around us on the stadium, and that we have endless opportunities. We often just see the crisis and we see the chaos, and that there is a sense of togetherness and a shared sense of purpose and pride. If you just sit and think back about the journey that we've been on, and all the the complications and challenges, and we're going to continue to face that. And I think if we can just find each one of think about our own moments of absolute pure joy in whatever it is that has come our way in life or that we've achieved. I and that has to be one of the moments for me. So I just want to encourage people during these challenging times to stay focused on the longer term vision, to um, build the trusted relationships, to translate that vision and that strategy into action, into taking on coaching and mentorship, giving and receiving of it, to live life, to its fullest, and use all the gifts and talents that live inside yourself to make a difference in the lives of others, and continue to learn, and hopefully find joy and peace in this lifetime. And for me, I'm just so grateful today, Adrian, for this recognition, for this award, for this conversation, to the people who do watch even when we don't think that we're being watched. I want to thank you, Adrian, and I want to thank all the support of the people who came up on this call today as well. And just want to wish you the very best, and that we understand that it is up to each one of us to make that difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Shirley. Now I'm going to very quickly end off with showing again the exclusive recognition to Shirley Zinn for successful leadership. Dr. Shirley Zinn, congratulations. Leading self, others, organization, society, and mentoring, inspiring more future leaders from us at Me Vision Academy. But we hope that we represent outside forces, not just the organizations that you've worked for, but that an outside body comes in and says, we've been tracking you, and you deserve this incredible recognition. I think it might be fair to just go into the comments. Dear Shirley, I know you and have been aligned with you for 23 years now. It has, as always, been an honor. Congratulations, an award that is well-deserved. Best wishes, from Johnny. I don't know how to say Johnny's surname. Help me. Funk.
Funk, yes.
And then sincere and huge congratulations to a truly inspirational leader and an incredible human. Well done, dear Shirley. From a Fortune iPad, but there's someone also attending here today. Thank you so much. And that was Me Vision Academy, recognition of successful leadership to Dr. Shirley Zinn today. Thank you for joining us. It's been a privilege.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks.